Good evening, everyone. As of one sound check, welcome to another Feeling Thursday Battle Lounge with the 2MK team. Technically 2 Battle Lounges. We've been having enough trouble with getting things to work probably that we've decided to at least straight up try to have 2 separate lounges and see if it resolves the problem. But people may be drifting in and out of these to test out various things and to see who they are best suited for fighting today, who they most feel like fighting today. Those who watch our lounges enough know who to look for, but if you don't, it's probably pretty obvious after a bit. Or you can just jump into this one because this is the stream one. And you can expect to have more options simply because more people will drift out of this one as others join. We don't have a very specific plan today. In fact, we're kind of hoping that some incredibly strong players show up. Because what we've been working on really requires that it be tested on people who have had a lot of time in this game to get all of their stuff going. Even our very focused players who can normally hit all their combos and similar don't always have the sort of mindset fully required to just go all in on something that shouldn't necessarily work. After all, you can only learn to defend against someone going too hard on something if you find someone who doesn't necessarily think to stop. But it's often true that only the best have both the tendency to keep going and the execution to make sure they never drop it. But if we're a little unlucky, we won't get anyone like that today. That said, OmniRabbit's been working on it long enough to fill that slot for us in this lounge, for now at least.
Select members. Select order. Select stage.
As a result of the plan for this stream, you're also going to get less of me talking, at least in the beginning part. We've covered just about everything we wanted to cover through our standard content relative to this game that occurs between 2 team members, because we don't really change characters often enough to make it different. That's what happens when you just don't play the game at the level of depth required for that, and spend all your time playing literally everything else. But Thursday is KOF day, so you will have to excuse us for not necessarily having altogether new things to talk about unless someone else with different characters appears. What we do definitely have though is a lot more training under our belts for various bots, and that's kind of helpful just for watching for certain confirms, for spacings, and so on. This sort of thing, as you can see, is explicitly making OmniRabbit's life quite a bit harder today, as our Athena has had a lot of time to train against various bots to raise accuracy.
Ready? Go!
Even without being able to get it completely accurate in all cases, confidence really helps. And we therefore got to see Athena as a strong point character with pushing into Isla having 4 bars. This is not necessarily going to be enough because Benmara also has 4 bars and he's much better at getting big damage out of it without any extra requirements. But Isla could really just poke this character to death. So there's that.
Stand your ground. Ready? Go! Final round. Ready? Go! Good.
That was actually a really interesting choice, given that this isn't an easy match to do with little bits of meter. Chizuru tends to be very safe against Antonov stuff, and while he doesn't really have that many EX moves that are specifically, hey, this is faster and I can do whatever I want, it does tend to come up. That said, was enough today.
また会おう Select members.
All set.
Select order.
思いっきり楽しませてもらうわ。
Select stage. Get ready for a battle of titans!
So here's something that might seem like an extra challenge, but I'm also specifically aiming to play a little differently today. Shermie has some trouble chasing down Yashiro, but she can walk against Yashiro much more safely than a lot of other characters. Mainly because Yashiro's ways of punishing certain things that other characters do don't quite reach. One of his biggest problems in this matchup, really. Meaning that he actually has to play fairly heavy offense in order to get this to work. Whereas Shermie has to anti-air almost perfectly. Bait and bluff. But part of the reason for this, or why one might want to do this, is because it saves you from having the slobber knocker of a fight that happens between these two normally. With a little luck, let's say, Mary might be able to just win, retaining most of her meter to face off with Benimaru. And while Benimaru is not exactly easy for her to use most of her options on, when she has meter, that changes a little bit. The key is to not drop your combos, obviously. And tactically speaking, that allows you to get to Antonov with Mary having meter, which gives you the option to hopefully force Antonov to use his own. But unfortunately, that was insufficient. He still has meter, which means that Yori's at a big disadvantage now. And has to fight just straight neutral.
貴様など余興にもならん。消え失せろ。Select members. Select order. Select stage. Get ready for a battle of titans! Round one. Ready? Go! Player 2 wins! Saki, stand your ground. Ready? Go! Player 1 wins! Now or never. Ready? Go! Player 2 wins!
Nice combination!
Player 1 wins!
甘く見られたものね。さあ始めましょう。
Final round! Ready? Go!
やっうがいのストライク。うがいたったやっだ払うたっトラックション払うたっせいベイドのストライクやっ払うせいさだベイドのスト
Something
ラ
you
イク
don't commonly see is someone using Chizuru's shadows just to bait the opponent into doing things. It does help with her general flows because it means she doesn't actually have to run up on opponents as often.
あなたに足りないのは一つだけ意志の強さ。
Toxic King, let's see. Well, let's see if this is the legendary one we have been waiting for.
Select order. Select stage. Nothing will stop this show!
We have somewhat familiar characters. This is me we're going to get to see Zoner Chris because not many people actually do this. Chris can be played from very far away with specific methods for getting enough power.
Ready? Go!
But this is also something that our Athena player is somewhat used to. Not necessarily because she plays Chris this way, but understands that it can be done and to some extent how. Yep, there we go.
Player 1 wins!
Unfortunately, that's literally challenging this player on the thing she does best. So, but now we have a character that can straight up zone you, which is different. Some familiarity with my bot will help here, but it's not sufficient on its own. My bot doesn't do a very good job of playing in the way that players would play, and isn't really intended to. It's more so meant to teach you a certain specific set of key things that players will do once they've got control, but you can't really use it to figure out how any given player will attempt to get control with Mai. This one, for example, is probably best defeated using her own Shatter Strike. But at least having that punish on deck, basically, will allow you to reset to a somewhat neutral position. And that one, similarly, sets up even better situations. Once you're here, though... Oh, no, there we go again. Right, once we're here, that moment is generally a Shatter Strike moment. Simply because Mai doesn't have a lot of good options, but she has decent amounts of range. But it looks like our Isla did not manage to either execute that or recognize the last punish moment. Chizuru doesn't have much better options in the same positions, because Mai will poke and the pokes will generally solve the problem. But you have to generally just care only that she is near you on the ground. Once you're there, she only can do that, basically, or hope that you get discouraged from actually dealing with your problem. And once you've got enough meter, you can just Shatter Strike your way out of this situation as much as you want. And here's an even more familiar matchup, for various reasons. The main problem here is that our Chizuru is going to need to get a lot of damage very correctly placed, or it just won't work. Fortunately, again, understanding the ranges at which she can do things versus not do things is probably enough. I think that was probably an error in input. And that gives us a split off in order to check a thing, while Unrabbit proceeds on into the match. If we get the same characters, I might have something to note, but if we don't, I probably will not.
Select order.
Difficult to say.
Select stage.
Definitely a change from Chris to Vanessa might help here,
It's about to be a party up in
but
here.
Point Vanessa is usually really hard to play. I guess against Yashiro she's not so hard though. I think I'm just going to leave this one and see what happens.
Round one. Ready? Go! Player 2 wins!
喧嘩が強い上に男前。
かかってらっしゃい。
Round 2. Ready? Go!
外れ。楽しんでる？
Reach for the top. Ready? Go!
逃が大地よたやった追い込むたえやせいたたまず逃がさない予定中せい大地よ追い込む
The canceling to Yashiro's level 2 surprises me literally every time I see it. I always think that the player has dropped their combo, and then that happens.
Select members.
all set
Select order.
思いっきり楽しませてもらうわ
Select stage.
But I'm assured that it is not dropped because that move has 28 active frames. For those of you who are not familiar with frame data, that means that there's a whole half of a second where you can just literally drop onto that hit. We are back to Shermie versus Yashiro neutral from the perspective of trying to get a tactical advantage in the match. But this is kind of a big bet because messing this up means that Yashiro is normally much, much more powered to go through the rest of your team. And without meter to do big conversions, you don't get away with as much from her at all. Having to spend the meter kind of defeats the purpose as well. But again, note that this isn't really a problem because you're not actually counting on Shermie to win this match. If she does, that's a relatively large bonus. You spend the next part just trying to build meter. The chances that she will take out Benimaru in a head-on fight are relatively small, as he has no reason to open himself up to most of what Shermie does. So you're mostly just guessing. If you guess correctly, great, but you're still guessing. Would I say goal achieved? No, because my opponent specifically aimed to make sure that they didn't use any meter, which is another problem that comes up in that matchup. Benimaru doesn't really need to do that. But Miri has enough, so... Ooh, the invincibility. You can't grab him when he's in that position. Go for the read. And then for surprise. Now, we're back where we started. By refusing to use any meter, we've still got Antonov with a ton of it, and Miri with just enough. The goal therefore is make this match as clean as possible from Mary's side. She's almost impossible for this character to pressure for any length of time, which is helpful. But still not enough to make Antonov actually use enough meter to let Iori become particularly dangerous. Iori having full meter though means that Antonov has to be more careful about a lot of things. And you can take some advantage of that. Use it, or you'll lose it. Don't try that at home, ladies and gentlemen. I have been practicing that with Punish for literally longer than many people have been alive. These two should definitely try to get a match. Let's hope that they're both ready for said match. There's a chance that one of them is not. But that's also good.
Select members. Select order. Select stage. It's about to be a party up in here! Round one. Ready? Go! Round two. Ready? Go! 先にボス
Burn to fight. Ready? Go! Lightning Ken. Hora. Lightning Ken. Lightning Ken. Lightning Ken. It's not. No, it's not. Lightning Ken. Lightning. Lightning Ken. Lightning Ken. It's not. Lightning Ken. Player 2 wins. Thank you.
お相手する。
みましょう Lady. Stand your ground. Ready? Go! Lightning Ken.
ベイドムストライク。
Lightning Ken.
はあ。
Lightning Ken.
トラップ。
Lightning Ken.
やあ。
Lightning Ken.
ベイドムストライク。はあ。
こいつはどうだ。それ甘い。
やあ。
No.
甘い。
Lightning Ken.
トラップショット。
決まりだな。君も俺に惚れちまったかい子猫ちゃん。
Select members. Select order.
ノックアウトして。
Select stage.
Get ready for a battle of titans!
お楽しみはこれからよ。
Round 1. Ready? Go!
ガラクション。いただき。
こっちだ。
アッパーカット。
よし。Player 1 wins!
喧嘩が強い上に男前。
かかってらっしゃい。
Turn to fight! Ready? wins.
楽しんでる
セール
Round 3. Ready? Go!
こっちだ
大四半と
よっ
大地の方向を
wins. Top. Round 4. Ready? Go! No!
せい
Lightning Ken! Lightning Ken! Lightning Ken! Lightning Ken!
置いてみ
Lightning Ken! Lightning Ken! Lightning Ken!
逃がさない逃がさない
Lightning Ken!
せい逃がさない逃がさない
決まりだな
覆る
俺と君この戦いで距離がぐっと縮まったと思わないかい
Select members.
We are closing in on the end of our stream, but not necessarily all that soon.
Select order.
思いっきり楽しませてもらうわ
Select stage.
The lounges are likely to stay open, at least for some time. But I can't be sure how long because in this case, I feel like someone had different plans.
It's about to be a party up in here.
Also, the report I have is that for some reason it's not laggy today, so it could be a different type of connection somewhere that's causing that, or it could just be that we could have just made the whole full lounge. That said, it's still pretty much useful to split it in half, simply because people get more matches. We just don't get to cross over as much in terms of who we get that match experience with. Today though, more Yashiro, sure me.
Ready? Go!
Cross up.
Player 1 wins.
喧嘩が強い上
Today, or rather this match, we're doing it slightly differently. This isn't a great matchup for either character, but it takes Yuri much less meter in my experience to deal with Yashiro than the other way around.
Go!
Mostly because of that move covering as much space as it does. But you must be ready to not get hit, or you're just going to get deleted eventually.
Player 2 wins.
The range at which these two fight makes most of Iori's fireballs unreactable. You can play Yashiro very defensively, but the Iori player will probably just do nothing.
始めようか
Stand your ground. Ready? Go!
This is another situation where you might not be able to automatically see what's supposed to happen here. Iori and Benimaru do have a fireball war, but Iori can normally dash at Benimaru right after the projectile regardless of what else is going on. So the projectile is really just there to make sure that nothing happens, and Benimaru is better off blocking it.
Player 1 wins! See you next time!
This, however, brings us to a situation that is enough in a different direction.
Stand your ground. Ready? Go!
As much as it's quite silly normally to say that all Keith has to do in this matchup is not get hit, that's still, honestly, the answer. It takes Benimaru quite a lot of effort to set up situations where Geese cannot do anything, because their spacings don't lead well to Benimaru's defensive moves working. This, on the other hand, is back to somewhat guessing.
Final round. Ready? Go!
Wrong one. Fortunately, it's not that punishable. Punished and dead. Should have gone for the low.
世界を見たか。それが絶対的宇宙王者による宇宙規模の戦いよ。
You can assume that this will be the last on-stream match of the night. We've started a little late, so we're ending a little late. As noted, the lounges are likely to stay open for a bit, and possibly consolidate into one lounge. At least if just to test whether or not we're having this sort of glitch we were normally having. Or if today it's fine for whatever reason.
Select stage. Nothing will stop this show. Round 1. Ready? Go!
Tiger kick! Swift kick! Hurricane of fire! Tiger kick! Hard! Sick! Sick kick! Bucket kick! Bucket kick!
While most of us eventually have to work on our hop game if we want to be particularly effective at this game, there are characters where you don't require it, and styles of learning in which the hop comes fairly secondary. But if you're a very offense-based player, and don't do this mostly via footsies, you're probably going to have to do some work for it. Particularly against those who retreat a lot, but it's not likely that that's going to be the main thing that happens every time. Still, lots of characters have other ways to push their space without necessarily being able to get the hop game going. What it does is allow you to throw on a lot of pressure, and that can always be interesting and relatively important. Still, as a source of movement, you can still just dash at people. And this is particularly useful when the person who is defending is expecting to have to deal with hops.
Round 3. Ready? Go! Lightning Ken! Lightning Ken! Lightning Ken! Lightning Ken! Lightning Ken!
The emergence of more Kukri craziness today. Unfortunately, I don't think the wolf has actually had time to use the bots for anything. So it's a little bit harder to get certain confirms ready. But... oh, I was about to say that this probably will work out, but not necessarily. On the other hand, getting Antonov to possibly use up all that meter to finish the punish on Kukri might be worth it. On the other hand, you could just punch him and that would be good. At least he's hard to grab. The aforementioned bots, specifically training mode, recordings that you can use, can be found on our website 2-mk.org. We did recently release our Leona, Ashe, and Hydern for accuracy training mostly.
Final round. Ready? Go!
We don't currently have any more plans for any specific bots, so you shouldn't necessarily be expecting anything on this Friday. Our Friday content being usually disc guidance, and in this case it would be disc guidance specifically for King of Fighters bots, as that's what it was last week, but we've got nothing in development at all. Lots more testing must be done before we come up with anything to help with any other things, and to even think about what that would even mean. So instead, you can probably join us maybe on Saturday for Dead or Alive 6 or 60 times Battle Lounge. And depending on some other information, we may shift our Sunday content to something else. Not necessarily because DNF is not particularly working, but simply that we feel as if the game will undergo some large changes in the future, and at the moment it's not the most fun thing to play for most people, so Sunday might still be a bit of a wild card. Join us on Monday for another mishmashing Battle Lounge in Street Fighter V, and definitely some sort of anime game, as they call it, next week. Bring us back around to our Thursday Battle Lounge for King of Fighters. But that's all time we have for tonight. This has been Brilliant 14 2MK. Good luck with your training and good night, everyone.